Konnichiwa, everyone. What this is a beautiful, beautiful pile of ash. Ash is one of my favorite woods, both in color and figure. And what we're going to make out of this is a new chest. This is going to be kind of a cross between a Viking chest and some Japanese stuff. I've got a lot of ideas that we're going to incorporate into this. And now this stuff's about 7/8 thick. I had previously been talking to a friend of mine who owns a thicknesser, and I'd been talking to him about getting it down to about 5/8 just to save some time and save a little bit of effort. And so he sends me a text the other day and he says, "Hey, I'm too busy. I can't do it." So that means we're going to do all this with a Harashikana. It's going to be a lot of work. You may have seen this plane before. I just went ahead and did the conversion with the spoon blade and everything. So it's going to be a lot of work. I've been wanting to do a big project like this out of ash for a while because ash is quickly becoming a very endangered wood thanks to a little bug called the emerald ash borer. If you're not familiar with that, I'm going to leave a couple of links in the description box down below. It is a nasty, nasty thing, and it is quickly wiping out millions and millions of ash trees. So I wanted to do a project out of it before ash got way too expensive and or extinct. And I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon, but you just never know. So this stuff's about 7/8 thick, and we're going to have to take off a decent portion of lumber to make this about 5/8. So do the math, you know. For a long, wide board like that, that is a significant chunk of wood. It's making me tired just thinking about it, but the best time to get started on any project is right now, so let's hop to it. So a wise man had a student in his shop one day, and the student asked him and said, "Teacher, what is the secret to wisdom?" To which the wise man replied and said, "To not contradict the stupid." The student replied and said, "Well, that's dumb. I don't think that's true." And to which the wise man replied and said, "You're right." Alright, so a basic plan of attack with these boards is to just do like anybody else would do. Chamfer the corners off, and then just go at it from a diagonal angle. And cue musical montage. Alright, quite a bit of time, and 10,000 calories later, we have all our panels. And these are going to be the foundation for our chest. This is going to be the floorboard. That's our lid. That's side 1, side 2, and the end piece is down there. I'm going to do some pretty fun joinery on that, and I really love this grain too. I'm really happy with how that kind of just sort of pops out at you. But anyway, we're going to cut some joinery, and we're going to keep it fairly simple and also a little bit complicated. Well, let's get to it. We're going to cut some sliding dovetails on these sides and a couple of mortise and tenon pieces, and that'll be that. So through the power of editing, we have our 2 end pieces and our 2 side pieces. Now we're going to do a little test fit, see how these things go together. Just cannot get over how crazy that grain is in this thing. Alright, well check that out. I am very happy that that went together. Just basically a little puzzle piece there. But just a note on the joinery, you don't have to use super flashy, super flamboyant joinery to make things cool. Sometimes you just got to do the stuff that's a little more subtle, and I didn't want to detract from this grain at all because I just love this pattern. So even though the joinery is not perfect, I did it for the main reason I wanted to preserve the face of these boards, and I wanted them to be fully visible because I love those cathedrals on that. We got to get this floor panel cut, and I got the ugliest board for the floor, so that stands to reason. So it's going to be pretty easy. Like I said, we're just going to do some blind mortise and tenons, or maybe through mortise and tenons if I make a mistake, but we'll see. But anyway, let's disassemble this thing and let's get at it. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh, just a little too tight right there. So a little tight on this end too. Let's bring it down just a bit more. I think we'll be just fine. Alright, test number 2. Got a little bit of shaving left there. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. So, well, it's pretty tight. Got some nice friction going on there, so a little bit of joinery on these end pieces, it should fit like a nice smooth glove. Alright, so as the traditional saying goes, 5th time's the charm. Put that pressure on it. Yeah, might work. It's pretty solid. It's a decent meat up there. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with that. Might trim it up a little later. Get a bit of work later. We got some nice mortises cut. We're going to do a bit of a dry fit here. See what all we can do. The mortises fit tight enough that they should hold themselves up. Not too much effort. Oh. There we go. It's going to work. Alright, a few minutes later, the floor is fit. It's a little bit gappy up there in the corners, but I'm actually pretty happy with it. It's nothing I can't fix after the fact. So we're going to fit these edges over here like that, and that's going to give us both our handles on the sides there, but it's also going to give us a way to sort of wedge that lid in, and I'm going to do a couple of things with the lid. It's actually, I haven't made up my mind exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but one way or another we'll get it done. Okay, so here's the rub with this thing. In order for this handle to be able to sit flat on these mortises have to be cut at the proper angle in order for these to be going on the inside, so that it's not doing this number or that number whenever you're putting them on. So what I have here is my handy little, I think this is an inclinometer they call this thing. Either that or most people just call it a protractor. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this guy at the proper anglage. in order to make this work. It should be about 85 degrees. So you can see that does match our angle there. So we're going to cut the mortises to match this piece here, and we're going to cut it so that the mortise sits flat like that. Should be sort of easy, but haven't tried this before, so if this goes awry, plan B. So this is this is a point of no return for this. If this doesn't work, I can always fix a crack. I'm not too worried about it. But I wanted to try to do this whole chest without any kind of glue. But if I do have to glue it, I won't be too upset. It's just part of life. So without further ado, here is our main event. Let's see what the best way to do this is. Well, it worked. There is no splittage. Let's see if we can see it a little bit further. Oh, I am very happy about that. That is on there like a rock. That was a little nerve-wracking, but I'm happy. Something learned, something we can apply next time. Alright, well that is some significant progress from where we were before. Both of those ends on there kind of locks it in, one solid piece. If they move in the future, I'll just put some nails in it or something like that. You know, practical stuff. But anyway, now we got to get this lid fitted, and this thing is really close to being done. I am really excited to put some finish on this. I may not have mentioned it before, but this is not intended to be a super precise piece. This is just kind of a concept idea I had going on for a long time, so if it doesn't come out too perfect, I'm not too worried about it. In fact, you can probably see right there that doesn't quite meet up, but I am not too worried about it. It is going to accomplish its purpose. We'll just market that as, you know, dust escape or something like that. Alright, we got that cut down just a little bit. Let's see what kind of fit we had. It's going to be a bit tight. Yeah, just a mite tight still, so gotta take that down just a little further. If I didn't explain it before, what we're going to do to fit this lid to it is we're going to do a single cross section here, have it fit like a traditional Japanese toolbox. You know, plain and simple. I mean, it works really well, so no need to overcomplicate the wheel. Alright, a little bit of fine sawing there as you witnessed. We got our wedges ready, we got our pins ready. Now all we got to do is see if they work, so let's give this a shot. The best way I can see to do this is we're going to have to put these wedges down in the hole, kind of as a preloaded thing. And then we're going to slip the pins in. Let's see, wait, yeah. Then we're going to slip the pins in over it and hammer them into place. So, let's see what happens here. That ain't coming out. So the other one is holding that in like a rock, and this, I think, is just going to work excellently for a backup. Oh yeah, that ain't coming out. Alright, well that little lever, whatever thingy is attached, we are very close to being done with this guy. Just gotta trim off a little bit on this edge here so we get a good fit. It should slide over just enough to give ourselves a good bit of wiggle room on this, but yeah, we are nearing the finish line, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, my favorite part, adding some finish. That color is very, very nice. Alright, well that, ladies and gentlemen, is a completed project. Well, that was certainly a very fun build, pretty intense too, but I absolutely love this ash grain. This was basically a big exercise in me for using hidden joinery, so none of the joinery on here is that showy type. It's all sliding dovetails and stuff that you can't really see unless you look close at it. This whole thing was built with that little kit and that toolbox right there. Not about how many tools you got, it's just how you use them. And I did make one mistake I should point out, but right there on that handle, I ended up ripping those out unintentionally, so I did have to dowel them to make them work, but that is the trick. You just gotta make it work. And I absolutely am in love with the grain and figure on this ash, so I am very, very glad that this project is done. The name for this, the Yokozuna, comes from the champion in sumo wrestling. And that was just the inspiration came from that, because this is just a big, burly, and beefy chest. And I'm going to get a lot of use out of this. I also angled the ends there to try to make it look like a sumo's fighting stance. If you don't know what that looks like, you can check it out on Google. And especially a big thank you goes out to the patrons on Patreon. I cannot do this kind of stuff without you guys. You guys are awesome. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can check out a link to the Patreon page in the description box down below. As always, thank you guys for watching. Have an awesome day. Arigatou gozaimasu. Sayonara.